Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. John Kelly Profile here, and welcome. Today, we're going to be talking a very sad and scary case. Who is the Vermont Trail Killer? We've got a killer on the trail or trails up in Vermont. Poor Honoree Fleming from Castleton, Vermont, was murdered just the other day by a shooter on the trail, same trail she was on. And I want to send our deepest sympathies and condolences to her family and friends. And here's a poor woman out for a walk on a beautiful day, and somebody shoots her in the head and kills her, right? At this point in time, I'd like to talk about my book. I want to thank you for all your kind feedback on my book. Great feedback. I can't thank you enough. You know, Discovering Lazarus, the good, the bad, the ugly of John Kelly Profiler, how I kicked a very, very horrible cocaine addiction, became a counselor, became a psychotherapist, and then became a profiler. Again, I can't thank you so much for your kind comments. Please feel free to comment on anything. We'll always get back to you. And most importantly, you know, we'll get back to you in a timely basis. You know, you won't be waiting forever. And also, we can't thank you enough for your subscription. So please subscribe, and we really appreciate it. Also, we're going to be coming up with memberships. We'll keep you posted on that. And it's going to be a private membership. That's the way we're headed. And it's going to be limited, but we will keep you posted. We're not ready to pull the trigger on that yet. Now, the question I have today for everybody, and certainly for the people up in Vermont, was this murder targeted or not? Now, you've heard law enforcement come out with that. They're saying they're not sure, they don't know. Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you, if it was targeted, usually we're looking at some kind of revenge situation or some kind of financially, motivated murder. Okay. And that's something we want to keep our eye on. What bothers me is, I can't, and so far law enforcement can't put their finger on anything or any reason why she would be targeted. We're really not seeing, a whole lot of revenge here. Of course, we don't know everything yet, and we're not seeing a whole lot here financially, so we can't put our finger on that either. But and it certainly wasn't sexual, okay, to this point, as far as we know. I mean, who knows what law enforcement knows? We don't know what they know, right? But if this murder was not targeted, we got a problem, because that means we have an extremely mentally ill killer on the loose, okay? And this is somebody who will shoot people indiscriminately. Okay, he, is just out there, and he could, have such mental illness that it causes him to be delusional, and he could be hearing voices. And if a voice tells him to kill somebody, he'll go ahead and take a shot at them. I mean, we've seen this before in many times in the subways in New York City, where people get thrown off onto a subway, off the platform onto a subway by a very mentally ill person. Lots of times there's schizophrenia involved, and schizophrenia can be caused or starts in the late teens, early 20s for men, and late 20s, early 30s for women. Okay. Not saying this person is schizophrenic, but I'm saying if it's not targeted, then this person has a serious mental illness, okay? And somebody with this type of serious mental illness that would run around indiscriminately shooting and killing people is someone we call a visionary killer. And the reason we call them visionary killer is because they act on these delusional thoughts that they're having. And these delusional thoughts are based on false beliefs that are not based in reality. All right. And, if you know anybody with a serious mental illness, you'll see that lots of times they're just not in reality when they're talking about something. They'll talk about a lot of things that don't make sense. And what can accompany this is hallucinations. Usually, with this type of killer, if he's mentally ill, the hallucinations are auditory mostly. They're not visual. They're usually auditory hallucinations. And, he's hearing voices. And these voices could be from the devil, could be from God, wherever, his delusional thinking is taking. He also could have some disorganized speech, which might be a warning sign for anybody that runs into him or knows him. See, there's people that know this guy, and they know he has a problem. But so far, we haven't gotten a tip from them, or they haven't come forward to law enforcement. But usually, disorganized speech is part and parcel of it. For instance, you may hear somebody talking about how the radio in the car is talking back to them, or the television's talking back to them, or they're getting, codes, from the television, or from some type of radio or electrical device or something, or there's messages coming through the wall. I mean, this type of mental illness, this delusional thinking can encompass a lot of different messaging in various forms, through various forms. And usually it's some kind of electric device that's causing this distorted messaging and thinking. Another warning sign could be performance in school, where somebody's been doing well, and then all of a sudden their marks start to go down. People are wondering what's going on here. This guy or this girl's always been, right at the top of the class. What's going on? Friends may notice even irritability or extremely depressed mood, maybe an agitated mood, a certain amount of anxiety. See, these are all kind of warning signs leading up to it. Again, when we get back to, this delusional kind of thinking, the schizophrenic or paranoid schizophrenic, mentality, early on, you can see it in the, early teens, late teens, early 20s for men, late 20s, early 30s for women. Okay. So if this is a redheaded guy running around up there, about 5'10", that they're talking about, I'm always concerned with visual descriptions, but that's the best we have to go on right now. I mean, you got to believe he's, early 20s. And that's usually when this really starts to hit home. Again, we focused on him as a visionary killer. The other thing that I'm focused on as well, and I've seen up close and personal, is substance abuse. I mean, there's certain substance abuse that can cause this kind of delusional thinking. Okay. And lots of times, it can be extreme abuse of like a really strong central nervous system stimulant, like methamphetamine, cocaine. Sometimes it can be, something out of the hallucinogenic family, some type of acid, something that's going to cause somebody to hallucinate. The other thing I want to bring up that I think is really important, even though this guy's supposed to have, I think, if I'm reading it right, from law enforcement, a handgun, a pistol. I assume it's a pistol because somebody's claiming they saw him walk away, with the backpack on. So I'm thinking more of a pistol than a rifle. The police know because they have the bullet, so they obviously know what caliber it is. Okay. But I want you to know how dangerous somebody like this can be. Probably the worst school or college shooting we've ever had the worst massacre was done with pistols, two small caliber pistols. I think a 9mm and a 22. And that was by somebody called Sung Hee Cho. Sung Hee Cho. And that was in April 16th of 2007. Virginia Tech. Okay, Virginia Tech. So it was a major shooting and slaughter with handguns. Okay, there was no rifle or AR-15 or anything else. So somebody with a handgun can be extremely dangerous. Okay, and not just for one or two people. I mean, there's people with handguns out there that can kill a whole bunch of people at one time. And of course, it depends, on how many clips he has or how fast he can load it. But anyway, we put up a tip line for you. Please feel free to call that tip line. If you have any information at all on this person, anybody you think that could be dangerous, okay, it's better to be safe than sorry. Get that information over to law enforcement. Let them work it, because as of right now, as far as we know, and as of last night, they have no one. And so that means we have a very dangerous person on the loose. And like I said, if it's not targeted, they're extremely mentally ill, and they're filled with all distorted delusions, and anything can happen here. So please contact that tip line. With all that being said, please be safe out there. It's very violent. We can't thank you enough for all your feedback. Please continue to comment. Most importantly, keep focused on yourself. Stay on your toes. And until next time, God bless and take care.